Hey everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter, and as some of you may know, I recently came back from Hawaii and I was doing some online shopping afterwards, and I found this Avery L Stay Fresh stamp and die set, and I just knew I had to have it. And so you can see I'm separating the dies here. These are the Elizabeth Craft die snips, and I love these for separating dies. And also, as I was kind of looking at this stamp set and kind of getting some ideas from it, I found some ideas over on Pinterest. Now, that board is linked over at my blog, so you can see the ideas that I found. But when I saw this pineapple in person, I knew it needed to be gold heat embossed on some vellum. So you saw me, I just kind of prepped the surface of my Ellen Hudson 43-pound vellum there with a little EK Success powder tool. And then I inked up my stamp using some Versamark ink, and I'm just pouring on some Ranger Super Fine Detail embossing powder in gold. Now, when I heat emboss on vellum, I like to make sure that my heat tool is nice and warm before I take it to the vellum. And I kind of start on the back side and let it melt a little from the back side and then heat it from the front to finish it off. And then I have a beautiful gold embossed pineapple on vellum. Now, this is really cute the way it is, and I actually think you could just leave it as a gold pineapple on vellum, but I thought it would be fun to add a little bit of color. And so I'm using YG17 and G05 Copic markers to add a little green. Now, I am coloring from the back side of this vellum because if I were to color with the Copic marker over the part that I had actually heat embossed, it would actually eat away or pull away the embossing powder. So it's really important that you color on the back side of this. And because you can see that embossing through there, it's really easy to do. Now, remember also when you're using the Copic markers on the vellum, the color is going to be less intense when you flip it over. So the color that you see there that I've added, when you flip it over, you can see it's a little less intense. So you want to make sure that you use a little bit stronger colors. At first, I hadn't used strong enough colors, so I actually had to go back in and kind of add some more deeper, darker greens, but the ones that I ended up with were YG17 and G05. I'm also adding the green not only to the stem or the leaves coming out of the top, but also around the little X's that are on the pineapple, because if you look at the pineapple like a real live pineapple, it has a little bit of green coming out in those areas too. So once I got all that green added in, I am going back with some yellows, and I used Y17 and Y19 to color the body of the pineapple. And because I started with the lighter color, so that's Y17, and I kind of tried to avoid the green as much as possible, kind of go around it, because your marker will pick up a little bit of the green. But don't worry, you can scribble it off. You're going to see me scribble it off here on a scratch piece of paper, and my marker is not ruined. It's not a problem at all. But I did kind of try to avoid smearing out that green too much or blending it out too much. So once I got it colored just the way I wanted, I'm taking a piece of Post-it tape and I'm securing my die right over that. And you saw me kind of stick the Post-it tape to the back of my hand, and that just pulled a little bit of the stickiness away from the Post-it tape so that it won't stick too much to my piece. And then I ran it through my die cut machine, and you see my adorable pineapple there. Now, while I have my die cut machine out, I decided to go ahead and create a mask. This circle die is from We Are Memory Keepers. It's just part of their nesting circles. And I am using just a little bit of computer paper to cut this circle out. And I'm not actually using the circle, but the negative space of this. And if I had planned a little more carefully, I probably wouldn't have torn across the top because it left a spot for me to have to mask off with some more Post-it tape. But in the end, it worked out okay. I secured it to my Nina Solar White card base, or card front, I should say. And I am using this wood grain background stamp from Hero Arts and Leah Griffith. And I'm just inking it up in a little fresh peach ink. And then I'm taking my card front to that background stamp, and I'm just going to press it on there. And this is going to give me a circle area of that wood grain stamping. And you can see I'm just kind of holding it in place with one hand and then pressing it down. And when I remove the mask, I have this really cool circle area of stamping. Now, I also wanted to go ahead and die cut a little banner shape. This is from the My Favorite Things Blueprints 25 die collection. It's a really cute stitched banner. And I'm inking up this Mahalo, which is thank you in Hawaiian. And I'm inking it up in some Versamark ink and stamping it onto that banner shape. Now I did have to kind of reform the stamp a little bit on my block to make it fit that banner shape, but that's really easy to do. And then I added some white embossing powder and I heat set that with my heat tool. Now, I have to admit, I made a lot of changes along the way with this card, and the sentiment piece was one of them. You can see it's embossed in gold there up in the top part of my screen, and I actually end up changing it again later on. But for now, I went ahead and re-adhered my mask to this card front, and I'm adding a little Avery L Sea Glass ink, and I'm just kind of blending it in with my ink blending tool, just kind of adding some more color in there and helping to create a really hard, nice, defined line between where that stamping is and the, white space of the card. So I'm just using my ink blending tool, and this stuff blends really, really well. And then I felt like it needed even more texture. And so I'm going in with this triangle stamp. This is from Savvy Stamps. And I'm just stamping a little bit more texture onto this kind of circle area. So I stamped it once at the top and then kind of staggered it down in the middle and then staggered it down again to the left on the bottom of that. And I'm only getting it in that circle area. So you can see there that circle area has the wood grain, the ink blending, and the texture of the triangles as well. I've gone ahead and adhered my sentiment piece down with a little foam adhesive, and then I added some multi-matte medium to the back of my pineapple, just kind of behind where the embossing was to attach my pineapple. And then I felt like this needed a little bit of pattern paper and a little bit more gold, so I've cut this Tim Holtz metallic cardstock as well as this black and white stripe from Chickanity. I've just cut some little strips of those, trimmed them down with my scissors into angles, and then kind of tucked them behind that sentiment piece. And then I'm going to sprinkle on some sequins. Now these sequins are from Pretty Pink Posh. It's a mixture of the lemon drop sequins and the sparkling clear. And I knew I wanted to round a corner, but I didn't know which one. I ended up rounding the bottom right corner like I always do, but I kind of use my corner rounder to kind of go around it and see where I really want it, and that helps me in my own strange way decide where to round the corner. So you saw me there. I added a little bit of tape runner adhesive to the back of a piece of fun foam because I'm going to lift up this card front. And I've created a card base out of some really cool wood grain cardstock. This is from Ellen Hudson as well. It's an Essentials by Ellen tan wood grain embossed cardstock, and I love it. And I'm also creating a matte piece out of that metallic cardstock from Tim Holtz again. And so I can layer these all up. And now that I've kind of figured out exactly how I want everything, I can adhere it down. So I'm adhering that fun foam piece first to my card base. And then I'm going to add the piece of metallic cardstock right over the top. That's going to be my matte piece for my card front. And of course, I've rounded the corners of all of these pieces as well. So I'll adhere that down. And then I'm going to very carefully add some tape runner adhesive to the back of my card front to add it on to all those layers. Now, I took a little bit of this sticky thumb foam adhesives. These little circle adhesives are the perfect size to kind of tuck behind sequins. And so I'm just taking that with my tweezers and I'm just tucking it behind where I've added that yellow sequin to kind of add a little bit more lift and support to my pineapple. And then I went over the entire pineapple with my Wink of Stella clear glitter brush marker to add a little bit of shimmer and shine. And I was looking at this card and it's adorable and I love it, but I felt like it needed something a little bit more. So I am just taking this really tiny tag die. This is from a Studio Calico set and I've cut it out of gold and also out of that tan cardstock. And I am writing Doll Organic. Now, I know that the company is Dole, but I was trying to do a little play on words. So it's kind of like saying you're a doll, Mahalo. I sent a picture to my friend and she did not get my humor at all. She's like, did you spell it wrong? Isn't it Dole, D-O-L-E? And I was like, no, I thought it would be a fun, like kind of punny thing to do doll instead. So maybe you get my humor, maybe you don't. But I went ahead and adhered that tag on, put a little twine on it, and then I put another one of those lemon drop sequins right in the middle of the O to kind of mimic the Dole logo again. So that completes my card. You see there, I actually went back and changed that sentiment piece again. It is now that tan embossed in white, and that for me was the finishing touch that it just needed. That was the perfect ending to this card. So as always, I have all the products linked in the description at YouTube, as well as to multiple sources over at my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope you have a fabulous day.